Well, hello, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, August the 9th, 2023. Wednesday, August the 9th. We're going to be able to now finally close a chapter today. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, I'm not too mad at the way they closed it. I'm really not too mad, right? Let me get rid of the nonsense. The nonsense was, and this is a nonsense. Lucy came to visit Daniel. Summer camp is over, and instead of going to Paul, Portugal, she came to Genoa City. Heather actually wanted her to come check on her father. It's so interesting how Lucy is the adult in that, but here's the deal. Heather is his ex. Heather has a new man. Heather knows she doesn't want to get sucked into anything, even though Daniel and Lily are together. But so she told Lucy to come visit her father to give him some moral support for the trial, right? So she surprised him by being in the room. And she says, "No, I just wanted to see you." And he goes, "You wanted to check up on me?" She goes, "That too." And he goes, "Lucy, I'm fine. I'm fine." Right? So she goes, "Okay, well, you know what? Then we can have fun then. We can just have fun." So he said, "What do you want to? You want to go eat?" She goes, "Well, yeah, we could do that too, but let's just go." So they go through the park. They run into Mariah, and Mariah was talking about, what a good daughter Lucy is, because Daniel introduced her to Lucy, and they were talking. And then Mariah, somehow they were talking about Lucy's here. Daniel says to check up on me to make sure he's okay. She goes, "Well, that's a good daughter." And so he goes, "But I don't need it. I'm fine." And so Mariah ended up giving Daniel the skinny on himself, that he's judgmental. He goes, "I am not judgmental." She goes, "You're judgmental?" And Lucy's like, "Mm-hmm." And those that usually have gone through some type of redemption or turned your life around, you know, you feel you now want perfection out of everyone else. She says, but the truth is, it doesn't really work that way. She says, people are going to change in their own time. And us judging them is not going to help them change. Right. And he was kind of taking it in. And I thought, well, that conversation would have made sense had that been Cassie, who knew Daniel. Mariah doesn't know him. And I don't know a single real conversation they've had to where she could understand and get the feeling that he's judgmental. But she was spot on with it, right? So anyway, he did not know that Phyllis at this point was already meeting, right? And I'm gonna get back to that. Summer's talking with Chance, and she did not rat her mother out because she realizes she is still talking to a cop. So she just told him she and her mother had a fight, and he goes, "Well, you've had fights before. What was this fight about?" And she says, "You know what? It doesn't matter what this fight was about." And I was thinking, good, keep your mouth shut. She says, "What matters is my eyes are now open. I cannot change my mother, and my mother's not going to change unless somehow she truly wants to. I have sacrificed my life. I put my life on hold for this situation she created. I'm done." She goes, Chance, it's almost like, when you're on a roller coaster and it's taking you up to the top and you're nervous because you can't stop it. You can't get off. You're going to go down, and the fear, the anxiety of going down, and just, she goes, "I feel like I'm on a roller coaster." She says, "But what I think I really need to do, I really need to go get on a real roller coaster so that I can get on it, get up there, and just let it all out. Just release all of this anxiety that I'm feeling." And so she goes, "Will you come with me?" And he goes, "Look, I got reports to do. I've got work to do." I'm surprised they didn't have him go with her, right? He says, but you know what? You go ahead. Because she's trying to say, well, I won't tell people that you were scared. You kept your eyes closed. He goes, oh, I'm not scared. He said, but I really can't go. And so he says, and he's standing up because he's getting ready to go back to work. He says, but you know what, Summer? You tell me how it went. I'm rooting for you. And she's looking at him. Thanks, Chance. And I said, yeah, they're going to slowly put those two together. I really think so. Right. But he was just a supportive friend to her. So the final scene of the show, actually, did I even show the scene where Lucy? I really like Lucy. She's such a happy-go-lucky kind of character. I really like it when she's around. Really wise young lady, because of course she's older than what she's playing, but I think she's going to be too mature for Johnny. I really do. But anyway, the last scene of the show, it shows Summer on a roller coaster. And the roller coaster's going up, and she's looking from side to side, hanging on. And then when she gets to the top, and it's showing, the camera's showing the roller coaster and the tracks and everything. And then she gets to the top, and she, as it starts to go down, she just lets this biggest yell of a release the whole way down. And she's moving her head, just yelling. And I thought, that must have been so freeing for her. It really looked like she needed it. And you want to know what my guess is? When Summer comes back, we're gonna see a brand new Summer. We're gonna see a woman in charge, a woman with confidence. Yes, of course, she's gonna forgive her mother, because now she's gonna know, no, her mother did the right thing, right? Her mother turned herself in that day for her. Now, let's go to the best part. Phyllis. Phyllis meets Christine. She's with Christine and Heather. And Heather's trying to say, Phyllis, we got to go. No, we got to talk separately. She goes, no, I know what I'm doing. But she tells Christine, okay, we know the stipulation. She must put it in writing that she will not press charges against Daniel or Summer. And so Christine said, I can do that. And so Phyllis says, can we go before the judge now, today, now? Christine's like, ain't no but a word, right? So they make the arrangements. They get into the judge's office, and the judge looks at the file, and she looks at Christine's recommendations for the years of sentencing. And she says, Miss Summers, I see the file, and I see the district attorney's recommendation for sentencing. You've got quite a list of crimes here that you have committed, serious crimes. And so Phyllis says, yes. And Your Honor, I am pleading guilty. I don't want to go to trial. I am taking responsibility for my actions. All I ask, Your Honor, is can I explain what got me here before you right now? And so the judge looked at her and said, yes. Because Christine looked, she goes, yes, I will hear it. Because although I have the district attorney's recommendations for sentencing, I could throw them out. I make the sentence. And Christina is just looking. So Phyllis goes through the whole thing, but she's still Phyllis. She did bring up Diane and how Diane did it years ago and got away with it and came back to town and uprooted, and upheavaled her life. And Jeremy Stark, what she had done to Jeremy Stark, and he was, a dangerous criminal, but Diane, it's her testimony that sent him to prison, and that's why he hated her. And then she talked about how, yes, she was alienated from her kids. We know the whole story. So she fell prey to him. She says, but it soon became, I was his victim, and I was his captor. And so she says, yes, you married him before you faked your death. She goes, that was his stipulation. He insisted I had to marry him. She says, It wasn't until we went through with it and I could hear my children crying over me when I was laying, passed out, laying there, pretending to be passed out. She says, and then my daughter had a memorial service for me, and I went there and I saw the anguish and the pain that I caused them. And I knew at that point I could not go along with this any longer. I was coming forward, and Jeremy Stark said he was going to kill me before that happened. And he proceeded to attack me. I killed a man, Your Honor, but it was to save my life. Every night when I go to sleep or I wake up in the middle of the night, seeing his face, his eyes as I killed him, she said, it haunts me. And she, Phyllis is doing her excellent acting job. Phyllis, and Christine is just looking at her like, you acting, right? But she's still showing respect in the judges' chambers, right? But she's looking at Phyllis like, this better not be working. So Phyllis says, what I did not know was Carson was watching in the window. I didn't know Carson saw Stark trying to kill me, and I killed him. She said, and the judge says, I see, Mr. Whatever's testimony, and it corroborates what you just said. And so Phyllis, she just told her whole story. And then the judge asked Christine, okay, now you've heard Miss Summers tell her story right now. Do you have anything? Would you like to reduce the sentence? Do you have anything to add? And Christine said, no, serious crimes were committed and she needs to pay for them. And Phyllis just looked at her. And then the judge looked at Heather and said, do you have anything you would like to add? And Heather stood up. Heather said, yes, that my client came forward on her own free will and turned her and not only turned herself in for her crimes, but changed her plea. She says, I just asked Your Honor for leniency. She goes, because the district attorney is very biased because of their personal history. And Christine looked at her and says, Miss Weber, Heather, whatever her last name is, I don't know what she's going by now, she knows this is not personal for me. I don't know why and the judge says, you know what? Okay, look, you can sit down. So they both sit down and she goes, Miss Summers, if I have to ask you what kind of a sentence I should give you, what would you say? And Phyllis looked at her and she's like, well, I would think, Your Honor, me answering that question, I don't know if that's going to do me more harm than good. She said, because any answer I give could seem to be self-serving. And so the judge said, but I would still like to hear it. So she says, I have alienated everybody in this town, including my friend, and disappointed even my friends. My children are in disarray. I need to make amends to everyone I have hurt, Your Honor. I can't do that behind bars. I won't make the same mistake twice. I can be a better person. I'm trying to be a better person by taking responsibility now. She says, I need to be able to make amends. So the judge says, all right, I'm going to deliberate. So she goes and Christine and leaves. And Heather and Phyllis go to society. Christine goes to GCAC. She's at the bar drinking her iced tea and Chance comes in. And Chance says, hey, counselor, what's happening? She goes, Phyllis just turned her, accepted my plea deal. She pleaded guilty and we just left the judge's chambers. The judge is deliberating now. And he goes, wow. He goes, what do you think's going to happen? She says, I don't know. I don't know what the judge is going to do. And so he goes, wow. So then as she's sitting there talking to him, they get a call that the judges made her ruling. So Heather gets the same call. She goes, come on, Phyllis, the judge has made the ruling. Heather stands up and Phyllis is sitting there shaking. And Heather goes, Phyllis, you can do this. You can do this. So Phyllis stands up, clutching her purse, and she goes out behind Heather. They sit in the judge's chamber, and the judge says, you know what? This is a serious list of charges. Serious. She said, but, however, she said, the the murder was collaborated, that it was self-defense. We have someone, a witness who came forward and backed up your story, or not even backed up your story. He confirmed that your version is the truth, right? In writing. And Christina's looking like, oh. She says, now, she looks at Christine. She goes, I am rejecting your recommendation for sentencing. She says, and Miss Summers, I'm giving you 6 months probation and a year of community service. I said, what? That's right. So Phyllis was like, and Christine was like, what? And she goes, Miss Summers, you're free to go. And I don't think she did a little brabble thing. Maybe she did. She stood up and they stood up and the judge walked out. And Christine walked over to Phyllis and she goes, you have been given a gift. Don't squander it. And Phyllis says, I won't. And so Phyllis is like holding her chest, and Heather saying, Phyllis, it's over. Phyllis, you did it. And Phyllis is just looking like, oh my God, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And then that's actually when they went to the scene of Summer on the roller coaster. But I'm looking forward to today, because Phyllis is going to be able to tell that smug Daniel that she did do the right thing. She is capable of doing the right thing. And this is what Heather might even tell Daniel, right? So let's go to comment corner. Yolanda said, Daniel wants to see Phyllis in prison. Maybe he's drinking again. Daniel has been drinking, but he's not slushing it up. But no, Daniel's been drinking. He starts early. I noticed that. That has never stopped. Who would want a child like Daniel? Heather should have gone to the judge. Yeah, on Christine. And then Dito says, you aren't the only people that noticed something was up with Sharon Case. Her voice and her facial expressions don't match her presentation and her dialogue. A friend of mine and I were speculating that maybe she had Botox. It kind of looks like that, but some lip work too. Nobody really knows. Daniel is getting on my last nerve. Please send him back to Georgia. So he is so preachy that it is all I can do. It's all I can do not say amen, Father Daniel, when he is on screen. I missed most of the episode that showed Phyllis. In my opinion, she should get outpatient treatment at Fairview and community service for a couple of years. Well, look, she got 6 months probation and a year community service. I know Audra's in the middle of a big mess. I love her scenes. I'm looking forward to her redemption story. As for Nate, he is just out for himself. If he throws Audra under the bus, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't give a care about his redemption story. I think he can be redeemed. He can't be deceived. I don't think he can be redeemed at this point. Victor, come back from Germany, appoint Nikki as lead of the company and give Victoria a step down and take Nate's job for a while. That one needs to learn some respect and humility. Stop preaching to Adam about when it's right and where, and wait, when what's in your face is your own daughter. I know, LOL. He just does not hold Victoria accountable for none of her actions, but that's coming. I already know that is going to come. So that's it for my daily recap. of The Young and the Restless. I will be back tomorrow for another daily recap.